IELTS Essay Focus. Session objectives. We're going to focus on what the examiners will focus on when they read your responses. The IELTS marking scheme. We'll look at the IELTS marking scheme and how you can use it to improve your band score. We'll look at an important secret that many students either don't think about or they're not taught. We'll look at proofreading your essay at the end. We'll have a summary. We'll have self-evaluation, time management skills for IELTS Band 9 essays. These are the most advanced type of essays which we're focusing on. Essay structure for IELTS Band 9 essays. And finally, you'll have a secret link at the end with a special discount for the IELTS Band 9 book and training pack. Okay, so let's get started. IELTS Writing Test Marking Scheme. Now, the IELTS Writing Test Marking Scheme has 4 parts: grammatical range and accuracy, task achievement, lexical resource, and coherence and cohesion. You've probably seen this on the IELTS website already, or you've read something about it. An important secret. In theory, grammar accounts for only 25% of the marks in your writing test. Now, this is in theory. As we looked at just before here, grammatical range and accuracy, that is only 25% of the total marks in theory. However, in practice, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and task achievement depend on grammar. In other words, if you cannot express your ideas cohesively and coherently because your grammar isn't good enough, then you will not get high marks. It's impossible to get high marks for cohesion and coherence if your grammar is extremely low. If you don't demonstrate task achievement because your grammar is letting you down and you can't say what you want to say, then you will not score highly in this area either. It's impossible to stick to the task and answer the question if you don't have the grammar to do so. Under grammatical range and accuracy, the examiner assesses 2 areas: the accuracy of your grammar and your range of grammar. So this is how many different structures you can demonstrate within the essay. Accuracy of grammar. How many error-free sentences do you have? Produce as many correct sentences as possible in your essay. This is where a little bit of tactics comes in, and you have to use structures that you've practiced. So no part of the exam really is the right time or place to start experimenting with new language or experimenting with new structures. You should use the structures and the language that you have practiced. Every mistake is detected and penalised in the exam, so you need to be aware of this. Avoid making basic mistakes that will bring your grades down. Remember, if you're making mistakes that are Band 5 mistakes, the examiner is not going to get the impression that your essay is a Band 9 essay. Review the 80 grammar rules for IELTS writing to minimise the number of basic errors you make in the exam. This is a book pack that we have available on our website. It contains a section called 80 grammar rules, and these are the basic rules that you need to stick by if you want to get good grades in your IELTS essay and in the task 1, whether it's the analysis, the report, or the email in IELTS General. Many students don't study basic grammar rules because they believe that they already know them. The problem is that knowing something passively isn't the same as using it correctly. So it's very important that you review all the basic grammar so that you don't make the mistake in the exam. If you don't pay attention to these basic concepts, you will probably make some mistakes in the writing and speaking exams, which could bring your grades down. Remember, never ignore the basics if you want to have the highest band scores. Leave 5 minutes at the end to check your responses and make sure you haven't made any mistakes. Correcting small grammar and vocabulary mistakes might seem boring, but if you do it before finishing your exam, you can really improve your band score. A great task response has a range of appropriate grammar structures. The word appropriate above is in bold because it's important not to throw grammar structures randomly at the examiner. You don't want to have a bunch of past perfect continuous tenses and any sort of complex tenses or complex grammar thrown into the essay just because you want to impress the examiner. If they're not used correctly and in the right context, they serve no purpose and they will probably lower your grade. Many IELTS candidates try to build complex sentences when it's inappropriate, or even worse, they make mistakes when they write these sentences and their essays fall apart. This is very important. It's very important that you avoid this kind of problem. A great response uses complex sentences like relative clauses and conditional sentences, but it uses them naturally. Now, naturally here is very important. Using overly complicated sentences to impress the examiner is a recipe for disaster. Now, just a quick note, we discuss all types of IELTS writing tasks in the book IELTS Writing Band 9 Proficiency and in the Advanced IELTS Writing course available from www.ieltsmasterclassonline.com. This is what the examiners will really focus on when they read your responses. Grammatical range and accuracy, task achievement, lexical resource, and coherence and cohesion. Therefore, in theory, grammar accounts for only 25% in your writing test. In reality, however, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and task achievement all depend on grammar to a certain extent. If you cannot express your ideas cohesively and coherently because your grammar isn't good enough, then you will not get high marks in that section. The mistake that a lot of students make is that they don't focus on grammar enough in the IELTS. They think that it's more important to write a lot of words or to write a lot of ideas, and they neglect grammar and they neglect the vocabulary and the grammar part of the exam, which is extremely important. Task achievement. Ask yourself, did you understand and answer the question? Is there a clear opinion? What information did you include? Are there at least 250 words for task 2? Organisation. Ask yourself, how well did you plan and organise the writing task? Did you use good connecting words and phrases? Vocabulary. Ask yourself, what vocabulary did you use and did you use it well? How good is your spelling? Now, this is important in the exam. You need to spell things correctly. If you have 1 or 2 spelling mistakes, it's not a problem. But if you start to have spelling mistakes all the time, and especially when spelling mistakes interfere with your communication, you have a problem. To get a high band score, you must have a good range of vocabulary used correctly. Attempt to use less common words and use them correctly a lot of the time. So it's okay if you're going to get a band 7, a band 8, or even a band 9. It's okay to make the odd small mistake if you're attempting to use less common vocabulary. And you should have very few or no spelling mistakes. Grammar. What grammar did you use? Did you use it well? How good is your punctuation? Punctuation is very important as well because it can interfere with with the meaning of the sentences. To get a high band score in grammar, you must produce a lot of error-free sentences. Use a variety of complex sentences and have good control of grammar. Have a good control of punctuation. IELTS essay time management for band 9. Don't fall into the trap of spending too long on one task or even one part of a single piece of writing. This will stop you from properly finishing both tasks of the exam within 60 minutes. To avoid this, stick to these guidelines. 1. Plan. 2. Write. 3. Check. Planning stage, 10 minutes. 10 minutes max, okay? So you want to be looking at ideally about 5 minutes, I'd say. Read the question. So the first thing you need to do is just read the question in detail and make sure that you understand the question. We'll be looking at this in more detail in the full IELTS writing course where you have the essay modules, where we can really show you how to analyse the question, understand it, and then respond accordingly. Decide your overall opinion. After you've read the question, you need to decide on your opinion. What's your general opinion about the topic? Make notes of your ideas, so that you need to be writing down arguments and supporting evidence. Advanced essay structure for IELTS. Properly structuring your IELTS writing Task 2 essay is essential and can make a big difference to your band score. Nearly all Task 2 essays follow this basic structure: introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and conclusion. In some cases you can have 3 body paragraphs, but usually it's easier to have 2. The exact language you use in each paragraph depends on the kind of question that you get. We're going to be looking at the essay questions in much more detail in the full IELTS writing course. We have a special discount here. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you're not satisfied for whatever reason, you just send us an email and we can refund your money. Okay, so thank you very much for today, and I hope you found this useful. See you next session.